6 a.m., July 26, 2007. Severn, Maryland. The water in the shower is running. A 63-year-old man stands under the spray. He is naked, vulnerable, defenseless. He hears a sound, not a knock, a splintering of wood, heavy tactical boots on hardwood floors. 12 armed FBI agents storm the hallway, rifles raised, safety catches clicked off. They breach the bathroom door. A federal agent points a loaded weapon directly at the head of a naked, dripping old man. They do not know who they are aiming at. Or maybe they do. This is William Binney. For 36 years, he was the ghost in the machine. The greatest mathematician the National Security Agency ever had. The man who literally built the global surveillance apparatus they are using to hunt him down right now. Let me tell you how a patriot becomes an enemy of the state. And it does not happen with a grand speech. It happens quietly. In closed-door meetings, with ink on a contract, with a silent walk down a sterile corridor. Binney did not sell secrets to Russia. He did not hack the Pentagon. His crime was far worse. He built a system that worked. And he refused to look away when they decided to weaponize it against you. Think about the irony. The architect of American intelligence, shivering in a towel, while the government he protected tears his house apart. They take his computers. They take his flash drives. They take his peace of mind. Why? Because he knew the math. And math does not lie. Let us rewind. Before the guns. Before the raid. Late 1990s. The digital ocean is expanding. Emails, phone calls, financial transactions. A tsunami of data. The NSA is drowning. They cannot process it. They are blind. Binney is tasked with fixing it. He creates a program, codenamed ThinThread. It is elegant, it is lightweight, it is cheap, $3 million. Pocket change for the Pentagon. But ThinThread has a very specific piece of code. An encryption block, a safeguard. It anonymizes the data of US citizens. It encrypts your name, your address, your life. Unless they have a federal warrant, it is the perfect balance. It catches the bad guys. It protects the innocent. It works perfectly. But the system does not want cheap. The system does not want perfect. The system wants a budget. Enter General Michael Hayden. Enter Trailblazer. Trailblazer is the anti-ThinThread. It is a massive, bloated, corporate outsourced monster. The price tag. $1.2 billion. Billion. With a B. It does not have privacy safeguards. It just vacuums everything. Every call, every keystroke. It strips away the encryption. It looks at everyone as a suspect. Trailblazer is a black hole and the darkest secret. It does not even work. It crashes. It fails basic tests. It is a $1.2 billion paperweight that happens to violate the United States Constitution. Binney sees this. He looks at the code. He looks at the budget. He realizes the truth. The agency is not trying to protect the country. They are building a surveillance empire, a panopticon, and they are using the fear of terrorism to justify it. It is October 31st, 2001. A month after the towers fell. Binney makes a choice. He does not scream. He does not leak documents to the press. He does not run. He simply resigns. He packs a small cardboard box. He leaves his badge on the desk. He walks out of the heavy blast doors of Fort Meade. He walks to his car in the Maryland autumn air. He thinks he's walking away. He thinks he can just go home and be a civilian. He is wrong. You do not just walk away from the machine. Not when you know its fatal flaw. Let us pause and consider what walking away actually means. When you spend 36 years analyzing the digital footprints of human beings, you know exactly how the net is cast. You know the exact algorithms used to trace a phone call from a burner in Yemen to an apartment in Brooklyn. You know how data packets are sliced, stored, and reconstructed. Binney knows all of this. He knows that the moment he swiped his badge for the last time, he went from being the watcher to the watched. The transition is invisible. You do not feel the surveillance. You just know it is there. The slight delay on the phone line. The subtle metadata logs accumulating in a server farm thousands of miles away. Every transaction at the grocery store. Every email to an old friend. Every medical record. All of it being fed into the bloated blind beast called Trailblazer. Binney sits in his home. The same home where the FBI will eventually kick in the door. He watches the news. He sees the Patriot Act passed. He watches the government systematically dismantle the privacy laws he spent his career trying to integrate into his code. He knows that his creation, the underlying architecture of ThinThread, has been stripped of its privacy protections and grafted onto this new, illegal domestic spying program. They took his beautiful, precise math and turned it into a weapon of mass surveillance. But the betrayal is not just political. It is deeply, intensely personal. It is the theft of a life's work. And he is not the only one who sees the rot. Inside the walls of the agency, another man is watching the exact same disaster unfold. But this man is not a mathematician. He is a senior executive. A man who believes in the chain of command. A man who believes that if you see a fire, you pull the alarm. His name is Thomas Drake. He looks at the $1.2 billion crater left by Trailblazer. He looks at the shredded Constitution. And he decides to play by their rules. He decides to use the official channels. He's about to make the biggest mistake of his life. Let us look closely at Thomas Drake. He is not a rebel. He is the opposite of a radical. He is an Air Force veteran, a Boy Scout, a man who fundamentally believes in the structural integrity of the American government. He works inside the Signals Intelligence Directorate. He is a senior executive. He has a corner office. He has access. He sees the rollout of Trailblazer. He sees the $1.2 billion evaporating into corporate contracts. He sees the code failing. More importantly, he sees the secret authorization to bypass the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. He sees the system turning its lenses inward on the American public. Drake does not panic. He follows the protocol. He opens the employee handbook. He looks at the rules for reporting waste, fraud, and abuse. He drafts a memo. He hits send. He waits. Nothing. He drafts another memo. He goes to his immediate superiors. He is told to let it go. He does not let it go. He escalates. He takes the documents, the hard evidence of the $1.2 billion failure and the unconstitutional surveillance, and he walks them to the Inspector General of the Department of Defense. He sits in windowless rooms in Washington. He hands over the data. He testifies behind closed doors to the Congressional Intelligence Committees. He plays exactly by the rules. He uses the legal, approved, officially sanctioned channels designed to protect whistleblowers. He expects accountability. He expects the system to course correct. Instead, he experiences the crushing, mechanical silence of an institution moving to protect itself. The silence does not last. It is replaced by a physical pressure. The atmosphere inside Fort Meade changes. Let us examine the anatomy of paranoia when you are an intelligence officer. It is not a sudden panic. It is a slow, cold drop in temperature. Drake notices the subtle shifts. The people who stop talking when he walks into the cafeteria. The meetings he is no longer invited to. The access codes that suddenly do not work. Then comes the digital isolation. The slight, almost imperceptible delay when he picks up his secure phone. The hesitation in the network when he logs into his terminal. He knows the architecture. He knows what a target profile looks like. He realizes with a cold clarity that his own profile is being actively compiled. By using the official channels, he did not trigger an investigation into the NSA. He triggered an investigation into himself. The Whistleblower Protection Program is an illusion. It is a honeypot, a mechanism designed to identify and isolate anomalies. And inside a corrupt bureaucracy, in a man telling the unvarnished truth is the most dangerous anomaly of all. The paranoia seeps into his personal life. He goes home, but he's never off the clock. He looks at his landline and knows it is a microphone. He looks at his computer and knows it is a glass wall. He checks his rearview mirror on the drive down the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. He is a spy being spied on by his own agency. He reaches out to William Binney, two ghosts talking in the shadows. They understand the math. They understand the algorithms tracking their every move. They know they are trapped. The machine begins its administrative retaliation. They strip Drake of his security clearance. They take his badge. They escort him out of the building. But administrative exile is not enough. The machine requires a public execution. It needs to send a chilling message to the thousands of other employees sitting at their desks watching. The message is simple. If you speak, we will destroy you. The transition from bureaucratic punishment to physical violence is swift. November 2007. Just months after the FBI stood in William Binney's bathroom with loaded rifles. They come for Drake. The choreography is identical. The pre-dawn darkness, the black SUVs, the tactical teams swarming the property. They execute a search warrant with extreme prejudice. They tear through his physical and digital existence. They seize computers. They seize documents. They seize books. They are not looking for a crime. They are looking for leverage. They are looking to break him. Drake sits in his living room, surrounded by federal agents, watching his life's work being boxed up in cardboard. He is completely isolated. The quarantine is absolute. His former colleagues will not speak to him. He is a radioactive entity. The system has successfully neutralized the threat. But they are not finished. They want to bury him. The ultimate weapon of the state is not a gun. It is the law. It is the crushing weight of the federal justice system. They prepare a legal document, an indictment that will reclassify Thomas Drake from a patriot reporting waste to an enemy of the state. April 2010. The Department of Justice unseals the indictment against Thomas Drake. 10 felony counts. He's not charged with mishandling funds. He's charged under the Espionage Act of 1917. Let the weight of that sink in. The Espionage Act saw a law designed to execute foreign spies, a law meant for traitors handing nuclear codes to the Soviet Union. Now, it is weaponized against an executive who tried to save the American public $1.2 billion and defend the Fourth Amendment. Look at the asymmetry of this warfare. The United States government has infinite resources. They have an army of federal prosecutors. They have unlimited time. Drake has a mortgage. He has a family. The process itself becomes the punishment. They systematically bleed him dry. The legal fees consume his life savings. They strip him of his pension. The man who once briefed the highest levels of the Pentagon is reduced to bankruptcy. He is forced to take a job at an Apple retail store in Bethesda, Maryland. A senior intelligence executive, a master of global signals intelligence, is now standing in a brightly lit mall, showing customers how to reset their passwords. This is not an accident. This is the calculated, meticulous destruction of a human being. It is designed to humiliate. It is designed to break his spirit. Look at the 40,000 other employees inside the National Security Agency, the analysts, the engineers, the cryptographers. They watched what happened to Drake. They saw the emails bounce back. They saw the security badges deactivated. They saw the news reports about the indictment. And they made their choice. They chose the mortgage. They chose the pension. They chose to put their heads down, stare at their monitors, and process the data. They accepted the new normal. The normalization of absolute surveillance. This is the true chilling effect. It is not just about silencing one man. It is about conditioning an entire workforce to accept illegal acts as standard operating procedure. You cannot build a surveillance state with monsters. You build it with ordinary people who are simply too afraid to speak. The silence inside Fort Meade becomes deafening. It is a silence bought with fear and enforced by the Espionage Act. But the government has a fundamental problem. They do not actually want to go to trial. A public trial means discovery. A trial means the grotesque failure of Trailblazer gets dissected in open court under oath. A trial means the illegal domestic surveillance programs are entered into the public record. So, on the very eve of the trial, the Department of Justice blinks. The prosecution collapses. They drop all the Espionage Act charges. The terrifying felony counts vanish into the sterile air of the courtroom. They offer Drake a plea deal, one minor misdemeanor, exceeding authorized use of a government computer. It is the legal equivalent of a digital parking ticket. Drake takes the plea. He avoids spending the rest of his life in federal prison. But the objective of the machine is already achieved. His career is ash. His reputation is a fractured mirror. Binney and Drake are left as cautionary tales, two bodies hanging in the town square of the intelligence community. The system successfully protects itself. It continues to vacuum the data. It continues to bypass the Constitution. The machine hums along, perfectly insulated by its own bureaucratic violence. And that brings us to the ultimate irony, the supreme paradox of this entire tragedy. A fast forward to June 2013. 7 years after the FBI stood in William Binney's bathroom, a young government contractor sits on the edge of a bed in a hotel room in Hong Kong. He is surrounded by laptops. He holds flash drives containing hundreds of thousands of highly classified documents. His name is Edward Snowden. When Snowden discovers the exact same illegal domestic surveillance programs, he faces the exact same moral dilemma. He looks at the architecture of the system. He looks at the shattered Constitution. He has to make a choice. Should he use the official channels? Should he draft a memo to the Inspector General? Should he testify to the congressional oversight committees? Snowden does not guess. He looks at the historical record. He looks precisely at what the system did to William Binney. He looks at the wreckage of Thomas Drake. He sees the predawn raids. He sees the loaded rifles. He sees the Espionage Act indictments. He sees the Apple Store. Snowden does the math. The calculation is cold, hard, and undeniable. The Whistleblower Protection Program is a honeypot. The official channels are an execution chamber. Doing things by the book is professional and personal suicide. If you want to expose a corrupted machine, you cannot play by the machine's rules. You have to break them completely. You have to bypass the system, steal the data, and hand it directly to the global public. You have to burn your own life down on your own terms before they drag you into the dark and do it for you. The destruction of William Binney and Thomas Drake was carefully engineered to terrify future whistleblowers into absolute silence. Instead, it created Edward Snowden. The system's own arrogance engineered its catastrophic breach. By criminalizing the men who tried to fix the machine from the inside, they guaranteed that the next man would simply blow it up. To be a patriot in a system built on lies, you have to be willing to become a turncoat.